Staying consistent with your part-time PhD is in itself a daunting challenge, especially if you're struggling with imposter syndrome. Today, I'm talking about one key belief and a few practical strategies that really helped me overcome imposter syndrome and stay consistent with my part-time PhD. Some of this I was lucky enough to discover myself, but science behind it and the explanations of why this works is concisely presented by James Clear in his book, Atomic Habits. If you're new here, hi, I'm Jenny, and I completed my part-time PhD in civil engineering at the University of Cape Town over an 8-year period while working overseas in Germany in both the train and automotive industries. Let's get going. The first thing I had by pure luck was this self-belief that I was a researcher. And this probably came from the fact that I was at university for a very, very long time, even before I started my PhD. At the most basic level, I was at least someone who loves finding things out and willing to do whatever is needed to get the answers. James Clear talks about the importance of identity in supporting your habits and behaviors. If you view yourself as an academic or a researcher, you will be aligned with acting like an academic or researcher. But if you just tell yourself you are just someone who happens to be doing a piece of research, then this is unlikely to cause you to align your actions with those of a researcher. So pause this video and write down how you can view yourself in terms of your PhD or research. When someone calls you a PhD candidate, do you want to squirm and hide beneath a chair, or do you nod along with the statement? Next, let's look at some practical strategies of how you can change your self-perception, or at least address some imposter syndrome that might be creeping up in your mind. And what I love about this is that you just need your journal or a piece of paper and something to write with. And yes, do this on a hard copy rather than just on your laptop or tablet, because the engagement and the effects are just so much more personal. So this first strategy is to count the good votes and ignore the bad ones. So this is a little bit of a twist on what James Clear says about every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. However, when you're mentally struggling with imposter syndrome, it's easy to focus on where you're failing to do rather than the small wins that you're actually making. So important here is to develop a sense of positive honesty with yourself. I remember having this moment of clarity when I realized that even though I still maintained the belief that I was a good PhD candidate, the number of hours I was able to invest in it on a weekly basis was incredibly low. This was due to many factors at the time, including learning German after work hours, frequent business trips, and just generally adjusting to a whole new country. But it didn't change the fact that the number of hours that I was spending on my PhD was very low. So even though this was a depressing thought, I started to look for any small gap where I could take any small action or task that counts towards PhD work. And here I found it was best to use my hard copy diary, so that firstly, it became clear why I did find the time or why I didn't find the time, and also to reflect at the end of the week to say, hey, this week was great, or this week was useless, but I can learn from it and I can maybe plan better for the next week. And when you're maybe in a bit of a dark place with your PhD, please don't focus on how you're failing or not getting any work done. Rather focus on the fact that today or tomorrow or that one slot in 2 weeks' time that you see as a chance to work on your PhD is the next opportunity for you to try again. And trying again is the most important part. So keep on trying. And then, of course, when you finally do manage to do even the smallest action or task, celebrate it. Mentally note it down as a success. So that your brain recognizes it as a win, and then you can train yourself to look forward to these small wins that eventually grow into bigger and bigger wins. And of course, as you're noting down your actions in your diary, you are creating the physical evidence that yes, you are indeed a PhD candidate and are making progress. And the small and big wins that you note down highlight to yourself that you are making positive progress, even when it is rewriting that one damn chapter for that 5th time. The next level strategy to try when you get some momentum is to try to adapt and adopt the never miss twice from James Clear. Now, if you're a part-time PhD student, it's highly unlikely that every day you can commit to a significant work package for your PhD. However, you can adapt it to apply it to your standard weekly schedule routine. I actually talk about this in this video over here, about having a weekly routine around your shallow work packages and your deep work sessions. But basically, if every Saturday morning is your deep work session, then don't miss 2 of these in a row. And this can be basically applied to any task or behavior that you want to establish or maintain. So one habit that I have at the moment is for myself is that I try to start each working day with my desk in the standing position, because apparently sitting is the new smoking of health risks. And because I know that if I just start my day standing, it's then very quickly 2 hours before I notice I've been standing the whole time. But if I start my day seated, then I'm often too lazy or too distracted to get up to standing even for a short bit during the day. The trick is to find what habits and behaviors are the highest value for your progress and to start small and only a few changes at a time before building on to the next one. Another overlooked aspect of becoming consistent and overcoming imposter syndrome is your environment. If your environment does not lend itself to you being a PhD candidate, then it's really something that you have to actively fight against. And this costs you a lot of time and energy that you frankly probably don't have. When I was in the last 2 years of my PhD, we had already started our family, and working from home was definitely not a PhD candidate type of situation. Thank goodness just around the corner from us was a shared office space, and my only regret was not joining much sooner. It would have saved us a lot of tears and arguments. And now when we bought our first flat, I made sure that there was a dedicated office space with a door that can close. And even within the space, it is carefully organized so that during the work week, it is set up for my day job. And every Friday, Feierabend, I switch off everything work-related, laptop and cell phone, and I pack it all away until Monday morning, because any work on the weekend for any private projects that I might have should not be distracted by my day job and vice versa. So if your main habit that you want to develop is your journaling habit, then create the environment to enable. This might be as simple as keeping your journal visible on your desk or on top of your laptop so that you have the physical reminder to do the action of journaling before anything else. With that said, this video is the last of a 5-part journaling series where we've covered everything to have a complete journaling operating system for your part-time PhD. Let me know in the comments what has been the most effective tip or trick for your journaling practice. Good luck and keep going.